with like a they just had a couple songs. And that was, oh gosh, should I have waited a little bit?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, so it started as like a 10-minute version with the company Untitled, and they're like a local opera company, and their whole mission is like bring opera into non-traditional venues, making it more accessible to people. Because a lot of times there's like this idea that opera is kind of, it's uptight, it's for wealthy people, and it's inaccessible because it's in a foreign language. It's hard to really connect with. But their whole goal is to break all those barriers down, bring it out to other places. They perform in bars, restaurants. They did Festival of the Arts actually Friday this past weekend. And we also presented the opera yesterday with them on Saturday. So bringing it into new spaces. And they've been so helpful in helping us get the opera produced, because it's been a big process of getting the cast together, raising money, getting locations for rehearsals, a whole bunch of things that go into it. And they've been so important for that. The location will be holding this opera. It's going to be at Factory Obscura, and that's going to be in June on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So there'll be 3 shows of that. And right now, that's kind of what we're working towards now. So yeah, I mentioned the workshop a little bit already. We did that a year ago. One of the things I think that's so special about this project is that it's a lot of like community involvement, community and getting feedback so we can shape the opera. Some of the feedback we got last year kind of led us to writing a new duet, which unfortunately you can't see today because we have a single singer with us, but a new duet between Anthony and Chloe to kind of develop the relationship. So at the start of this opera, we have characters, Harold Benson, who's the father, Anthony Benson, who's the son, and they're kind of grieving the loss and death of their wife and mother, Chloe Benson, who had passed away 3 years ago. So through the opera, we kind of take you through their grieving process. Harold's in therapy, and we kind of see how that goes. And Anthony, who's an 18-year-old high school student, he's getting ready to graduate and start the next chapter in his life. It's been a really strong source of support for his dad as they're working through that. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Ray. And he's going to talk more about some of the statistics and information behind police brutality and why we think it's so important to write this opera about it.
Cool. Yes, my name is Ray. You said we could take out these masks. Chris, could you change the?
Oh yes, I forgot. I was distracted with water.
That's okay. So, looking at these numbers, police have killed 1,141 people in the U.S. in 2021. There was only 15 days in 2021 where police didn't. Black people are 2.9 times more likely to be killed than white people. And then we sort of have like a graph up there that shows you the different numbers that's happened in that year. I mean, to be honest, like these numbers here don't really change much from year to year. And when you really look at like the history of policing, you sort of can see why. You know, I'm not a historian or anything like that, but you know, just the basis of where policing came from in the US from the very beginning of it, you know, was to gather slaves, you know, and slave patrol, and, you know, to at a time where, you know, Black people weren't deemed as people and deemed as things, you know, to slavery being ended. And then now you just have a group of people out who weren't really given anything, but now they're sort of just out trying to survive and trying to find things and gather things like that. And then the police force wasn't really still a police force yet. It was still sort of almost this neighborhood watch, sort of still patrol sort of thing, trying to, how can we still have control of these people without, you know, we can't legally slave them, you know, that's the reason why we still had the Civil War. People still wanted slaves to keep on going, but we couldn't. And then you get things coming about like the Ku Klux Klan to come about, who were still just like sort of this neighborhood watch sort of thing of businessmen and politicians. And, you know, if politicians weren't, you know, directly involved, they approved of it. Sort of leading into, you know, that ending. And then it's like they created codes to where we can still allow these people to work, but we still need to be able to control them in some form of way. So it's like slavery has ended, but as long as they don't commit a crime. So if you commit a crime, you're criminalized, and now you can still be controlled, and you're still thrown into this system where you can be, you know, leading up into, you know, it's like the only reason policing seem like it's gotten better or it's changed is because things like things got immoral over time. They can't just like do what they want to do. They can't like misuse and abuse the law, which they still do. It's just like they either get in trouble sometimes or they don't. So it's like over time, you know, they just adapted to the law, and how, you know, how they can move, how they don't move, you know. And yeah, and it was just for almost like to control the working class and the poor people and minorities and stuff like that. You know, it's not like we really wanted immigrants and stuff like that to not be here, because we needed them to push our economy, just like, you know, they needed slaves to push us through the cotton and the tobacco, you know, sort of time. And now, so just from the beginning of time, you can see why there's just sort of this stigma built, one around like Black people being criminalized, minorities being criminalized, poor people being criminalized, because that's just sort of been the basis of it since like the very beginning. And I think it's just been hard for that to change in our policing, in our government, and stuff like that. I mean, I can honestly like ramble about this stuff for so long, because it just goes deep into our history, and, you know, it might not change in our time very soon, but, you know, I do believe that, you know, it will eventually. But yeah, right now it's just still there, and it's tough. But it's not that new to the people it's been happening to. You know, like, you know, the George Floyd thing, everyone's like, oh, you know, how could this be, you know, things like that. But, you know, Black people have seen that a lot over the years. You know, it's not nothing new. It's just now we have cameras and stuff that people can pull out and show it to us. And with the George Floyd thing, and it's not like things haven't been on camera before and things ain't seen, but this is one of the things where it's just like blatant, like, you know, murder sort of thing, you know, like there's like no excuses or no way around that. So yeah, like I said, I think things are getting better, but that was just to talk a little bit about sort of why we mainly feel like things like this are important to put out into the world. And, you know, a lot of injustices happen here in Oklahoma too. And I think things get overlooked a lot here because, I mean, we're just, you know, to the state, talking about we're Oklahoma, you know, we're in the middle of that. We just get overlooked when it comes to things like that. But we have a lot of problems here dealing with stuff like that.
Yeah. So one of the questions we were asked was, why write an opera about this? And how does art and social justice kind of play a role? So I'll talk a little bit about that. I think art, from at least like a creative standpoint and also performing standpoint, it allows us to express emotions that we feel. Sometimes that may be hard to put into words or difficult to want to express outwardly. We can put that into music or into other forms of art. As performers like that, I think social justice is perfect to express in music. So, and I think opera as an art form is the perfect way to tell this type of story. I think when we hear these statistics and we see the numbers, it's easy to kind of grow numb to them and feel overwhelmed because there's just so much death that we're surrounded with constantly. And it's hard to really see how is that family personally affected. We kind of lose sight of that. And that's what we focus on in the opera. We want to see the humanity behind it. How is the family affected? What were their lives like before this happened? Before they had everything taken away from them, what was their lives like? Not just focusing on the trauma that they're experiencing. And I think when seeing an opera singer in front of you expressing that emotion so rawly, so dramatically in front of you, it's hard to look away, and it causes you to think more deeply about the issue than we maybe currently do. So I think the best way to demonstrate that is by having Lorenzo and I do one of the songs for you guys. So I'll kind of like set the scene. I'll set the scene a little bit with kind of what's going on. So at the start of the opera, Anthony Benson, he's a high school student, 18 years old. He's about to graduate. And he comes home from school with his cap and gown. He's excited. He's talking to his dad about it. He gets a news notification on his phone about an incident of a person being killed by a police officer in Los Angeles. And it kind of shifts their conversation. And he starts talking about his dreams and aspirations of wanting to become a lawyer, to prosecute the officers that commit these crimes, so he can bring justice to families that for so long have had none. So Megan is going to kind of recite the newscap that sparks the conversation. And we're going to hear Lorenzo do such an incredible job singing.
We're following an officer-involved shooting out of Los Angeles. According to witnesses on the scene, an unarmed black male was allegedly shot and killed by an officer responding to a call about a suspicious male loitering in the street. This is a developing story. We'll bring you more information as it becomes available.
Another news story? Another name, face, and life? Another black person, a human being shot dead for no reason. And what will come of it? Paid administrative leave? Half-heartedly pursued charges? No charges at all? In the morning, bright and early, at the courtroom, I see the family broken and helpless. Something is missing. I could bring them justice for the one that they love. I could give hope to the victims' friends and family. The defendant slowly walks inside, takes his place, no emotion in his eyes. His lawyers in dark suits with lavish eyes. They throw everything at me, degrade his character, paint him the villain they choose to see. The jury sees. to agree. But I know different, and I will show them who the facts really set free. And faith be remembered as the cowards who only saw one ending. His team of lawyers grasping for anything at all, call their expert to the stand. Building his profile, not as a man longing to bask in the sun, but as a brother sucking his blood, ready to extinguish their heroes' red. But their life burns on, while the family longs for a flicker, just one flicker of their loved one. At the courtroom, bright and early in the morning, that's where justice will finally, justice will finally, justice will finally speak.
Yeah, so thank you, Linda. That was incredible. I'm gonna pass it over to Megan. She's gonna kind of talk about some of our fundraising goals.
The most important part of any production at all, including this one, is our cast of musicians who are going to be bringing this to life. We have just the most perfect cast. I can't get over how we've had, like, oh my gosh, they're also talented. So we've been fundraising and looking for sponsors for this project for a while now. The total cost to bring this to the Factory of Scara stage is $17,800. Production costs, think lighting, costumes, stage stuff like that, $4,050. Marketing and recording, we want to get a professional recording made of this during opening weekend so that it can be continue to be distributed to people, because we know not everyone is going to get in there, and we think this is an important topic, and that this story encapsulates it in such a way that it is accessible. So we want it to be available for everyone. And then stipends and fees, which is what we pay our musicians and cast, is $8,450. We have a total of 6 cast members, 8 musicians that will be playing the music live in the pit, and Chris has done an amazing job of filling that out. So what you guys will hear if you come to our show in June is going to be just incredible. And we have 4 directors as well who are working on this too. So and that does not include us as a writing team and everything. So yeah, that's what we're still trying to achieve and everything. Oh, Chris, I'm sorry, will you hit for me? And these are our amazing, the amazing people working on this project and everything. Yeah, our local cast and musicians and crew and everything. So yeah, that's who's bringing this to life.
So before we do questions and things about it, we have like another song we could kind of share with you. So Kayla Marshall, she's playing the role of Chloe Vincent, and she couldn't be here. She's actually doing a recital today. Is it her senior book recital? Yeah, so she was crazy that she was so stressed this weekend because she also helped us with Festival of the Arts yesterday. So she has been so great helping us, doing a bunch of extra performances around her recital. So you guys can kind of hear one of her songs, Brenda's gonna sing it. And the way the song works is there's like a theme and a melody that we introduced that kind of represents Chloe as a character. Are you guys all familiar with this thing? I can give you an example. Like it's a super common composing trick people use. So if you guys recognize this, feel free to like say what it makes you think of. Yeah, what character is that? Darth Vader, yeah. So I did that same thing with the theme, but it's Chloe's theme. And every time it appears, it kind of represents that Harold and Anthony are thinking of or longing for. And events unfold in the opera that I do not want to spoil and give away. So you'll have to come see it. But it causes Harold to be thinking more and more of her. And as the song kind of progresses, it starts off just as her singing like oohs in the distance. Words start adding onto it. And then you're going to hear like the full version of that song with all the words and lyrics. And it kind of represents this dreamlike state where Harold's able to see his wife. Okay.
In my dreams, I can see you there. Sunlight streams dancing through your hair. Haunted by your smile. Gone is our moment in the sun. In my dreams, I can see.
Are there any questions? Also, if you want to say anything, that's fine. If you ever want to say anything, too. If you have any questions.
What happens next?
Oh, so the next step right now is we're fundraising.
No, I know about that. No, in the option. She wants a spoiler.
know what to say because I feel like it's a big spoiler. I don't want
Come to find out.
Yeah.
Come to find out.
How can we support what you do?
What can we do to help you?
Yes.
I think
Are you
one of the
taking
biggest, yeah, one of the biggest ways we need support is, oh yeah, sorry, I should use the mic. So I think one of the biggest ways we need support right now is fundraising to make this thing happen. And it seems like a daunting goal, but some of the things we didn't mention are some of the numbers that we have coming in already. So 70,800 is the overall goal. We have 3,000 we've already raised currently through like crowdsourcing, fundraising, those efforts. And we plan on being able to make around 6,000 from ticket sales. So that actually only leaves us around 8,000 we're really trying to raise for the rest of the day. So that's like 100 people giving 80 people giving $100 and we meet our goal. So it's like kind of one of the main things that we're currently trying to do. And also spreading the word and getting people interested in it to come check out the show, of course.
Do we, if we care to make a donation or purchase tickets, we go to.
So those little sheets sitting on your chair. Oh yeah, so we have a sheet over there that explains the sponsorship levels if you're interested in donating. And then the little posters that have the QR codes right there. If you scan that with your phone, that'll take you to the ticket site and you can buy tickets there. So yeah.
Should I bring this to you? I'll do it. We also have a GoFundMe page too, but so there's like multiple ways of like fundraising. If you guys want to, I think that was. Do we have that one with the QR codes? Megan knows all those answers that I don't know. So she's.
First, thank you for the music. It was absolutely beautiful, both the music and the performance. And the mission behind it. Thank you so much. So from one of the excerpts that you performed, it seems like one of the messages is that is justice possible in the legal system? Is that a spoiler alert? Or should we try to talk a little bit about what the I'm gonna go and I'm gonna drag some people with me, but
About justice being possible in the legal system, I think also when we hear Anthony as a character kind of describing these desires and goals, he's about to graduate high school. And I know when I graduated high school, I had a lot of ideals, for the world around me that just didn't pan out, and it's disappointing. So no, you know what? I don't know if it's always possible to achieve that justice. I mean, we see every day that it doesn't happen. But I think we should all maybe have that ideal that Anthony does have to try to achieve that and maybe keep some of that. I don't want to say naivety, because it's beautiful, but keeping that, and trying to still strive for it, even if it currently seems like it might not be as possible as we'd like for it to be.
I think it is possible, but it has to start from the people who like causing it. It's not really from us. They sort of have to like realize and sort of change the way that they just function as far as our justice system goes and policing and government and stuff like that. I think more accountability and just changing sort of that base thing that I was sort of like talking about earlier, just like just looking at people and just seeing them as criminals just right off the bat and not even knowing who they are as people, sort of thing. Which like I said, I think the people are like have realized that, which even back then we've always had young people who like seen our system is broken and all that type of stuff. I mean, when like Martin Luther King and stuff started, he was like really young when he started doing that. He was just doing it for a while. There's a bunch of like Black leaders who were coming up who were like really young when they started off. And I mean, sadly, we kind of see what happens with Black leaders who really gain a lot of like following, and when the government sort of sees that they're gaining a lot of like power and people want to go along, they sort of just become no more, you know, at some point. I do believe justice is possible. It just has to start from within, from them.
I also think from where Anthony stands, that he sees a problem, and instead of acting in a way that his parents have instilled in him to like, hey, like you need to find solutions like to problems, you need to think rationally, you need to make sure that you're safe at all costs. And something like that, like we explore in the opera, is some of like the nuances in cases that are not like easily defined without a system like the justice system, you know, like in the court where you need evidence, you need to build these character profiles of things. And so through like Anthony's process, you know, he sees like what is normally the case, and he tries to solve it like in his own mind before he takes like, those actions throughout the opera. And when you really get to see his character arc go, and maybe that's something still to explore in terms of how the events that happen in this story like then proceed through the justice system. But we at least are painting that picture. We're painting that picture of a hope for a better day, where even if you have like a tough like opposition, like just trying every trade in the book to like discredit you, there's still some merit in the hope that the justice system and what it should represent is there.
We've got about 5 more minutes, so a couple more questions.
I was just curious in the background, how you got together, and you know what sort of initially spurred this on, and how long it was.
Yeah, so, well, I guess how I met, well, Megan, of course, we're twins, we've just always known each other. And more about her background, she is a journalist with NonDoc. Oh, yeah. So she's always been just a really great writer and super smart, smarter than me, great with words. So she was a no-brainer to bring on. Ray as well. I met him we were in college together at UCL during our undergrads. So that's kind of where we met, playing percussion music together. And he's also been a wordsmith, makes a lot of contemporary music, hip hop music. So he has a way with words as well. And both of them and all of us combined, I think, was a great like pairing to like bring out the story and show out the ideas. What are some, sorry, what was the other part of the question?
How long ago you started?
Oh yeah, so this started like, it was like 4 years ago. And initially it was just a 10-minute version with a couple songs. And then I knew I wanted to eventually have it turned into like a 90-minute version. So a full version of the story, fully fleshed out. And that's when Megan and Ray were brought on, and we kind of did that. And then around 2020, that's when we were kind of writing and finishing it up. And then COVID happened, and we had to like put the workshop off for like a year. And then that's when we started bringing on the other people over the team. So as like you're seeing kind of like the images, the very top line, that's all the cast members. So Jordan on the left, who's playing Harold, Elena, who's playing the counselor, Jacob, who's playing one of the police officers, Caleb Marshall, who's playing Chloe, Lorenzo, who we know, who's playing Anthony, and then that's Alexandria Carmen, who's playing another one of the police officers. And then of course you see us three. Danielle, she's helping us produce it, and she works with Opera on Tap. And then those are our directors on the bottom. So Shay, she is like the stage director, doing the costumes, deciding like the blocking, what kind of like positions the opera singers are going to stand in, and how the sets are gonna work. Allie is our music director, so she's been like kind of coaching the singers, and she plays piano so much better than me. I made a couple mistakes there. I know Lorenzo definitely knows, everyone kind of, but she is the one who will be playing the piano in June for the show. And then that is Jose Batty. He works with the Phil as the music librarian. I don't know. And he's like also a conductor and a violinist. So he's gonna conduct the field orchestra. We're gonna have like a string section, piano, harp, percussion, and saxophone added along with the piano and fill it out more. So did I answer that enough? Sorry.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Are you all from this area? So we went to college at UCO in Edmond. Me and my brother went to high school in Duncan. We're military kids. We moved around a little bit before that. I think right, you're from down in Chickasha, right?
Yeah, I'm from Chickasha. Yeah. I know where it is.
Yeah, so my dad like was also in the military and moved around a lot, like, but where I went to high school and where I got my undergrad was in Lawton, Oklahoma.
Like the same, like,
Yeah.
of the state.
And like everyone up here, there are a few people who I think are from out of state and then came to school here. I think Shay is an example of that. But most of these people, who else? Oh, Lena? Oh, Kayla as well. So there's like a few of our members up here that came from out of state and came here for college and everything. But mostly everyone, they're from Oklahoma. And it's all like an Oklahoma effort of artists, creators to do the story. That also takes place in Oklahoma. I don't know if I really explained that now. So it actually takes place in Oklahoma, and Anthony's aspirations are to go to OU and eventually law school. And so it's set here too, which I think makes it kind of powerful. And we use some of the street names in a certain part that I don't want to say anything else about. So I think it gives us really a personal connection to the story.
What led to your partnership with Factory?
Oh, so we kind of knew of Factory Obscura, and there's like Painted Sky Opera. We knew that they were kind of using them as a venue, and we thought it would be super cool because of like the immersive art aspect that they have. Have you guys, anyone ever been there and checked it out? Oh yeah. I think Janice was telling us a little bit. So it's super cool. So it's like we thought it'd be a cool venue, the location kind of being in that area, and also the fact that they have the immersive art, they're doing things that are different and exciting. I thought that would be cool, paired with what Opera and Tap does and what we're trying to do with the opera. It was kind of a good fit.
It goes into the non-traditional venue, I guess, for opera on tap too. So you're not having to sit in a concert hall and maybe, getting people who might not be interested in opera to be like, oh, well, this is happening at a art exhibit, but I know this place, I like it. And then, maybe people will be more willing to give it a chance too, I think, when it's in like a more casual venue space and everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
Extra big thanks for coming out on Memorial.
Next week, our class is going to be on paganism. Paganism. Janice, can you help wrap up this? I have to do the welcome. I gotta.